Hey everybody, Stepgun here. If you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you guys can see all the videos coming up. Today we're going to take a look at one of the most common guns known to anybody in the world, for that matter. It's it's a Glock, and it is a Glock 17. Let's take a look. All right, everybody, that's right. We're going to take a look at a Glock 17. This is a Generation 4. We will get to the gap pretty shortly. Yeah, guys, this is one of my favorite full-size pistols. You know, most people, you hear talk about Glock. This is a very, very, very common firearm. A lot of law enforcement carry the Glock 17. As recently switched over from a Glock 22, which is a 40 Smith & Wesson. Some officers back in, I believe, early 2000s, even some later in other states, carried a Glock 21, which was a 45 ACP caliber. But since the Fed switched over to 9mm, a lot of other police officers have in the last several years. And this is the firearm they carry now, being a Glock 17. Glock, as you guys may know, is definitely, if you follow the channel, is one of my favorite guns. I mean, they're not that expensive. I mean, $400 or $500, and Glocks just built their name around absolute reliability. Okay, this gun here, as you can see, it is a Generation 4, as I mentioned. So the Generation 4 is a little bit different. You got your bigger magazine release here, so you got a big old mag release here. For those of you sitting at home, for your comfort, I'll show you that this gun is unloaded, the chamber is clear, and we're working with a safe firearm here. Okay, the Glock Generation 4, you know, obviously Generation 4, it goes all the way back to the Generation 1. Gaston Glock, he invented this thing back in the 80s. Okay, the first gun ever made was the P80. Okay, Glock just recently created the gun again, and it basically was a Glock 17, you know, just back in the 80s. They didn't have rails on it. It was a straight grip. It didn't have the finger grooves on it. And it was just a full-size pistol Gaston Glock had made, and it literally just exploded. And then there was a Generation 2, which took off, and then, you know, they were around for several years. Then the Generation 3 took off, so I actually have a Glock 17 Gen 3. It's a little bit different. Okay, you have the, it's more a grip here on your lower. It doesn't have the stippled grip on the sides here, as you'll see. Texture improvement. The magazine release is a little bit smaller, okay? And Glock just, for several years, have not really changed the pistol that much. For those of you that really follow it, I mean, there's new things now. There's Generation 5 guns out that, you know, they have dual slide locks. The slide's a little bit different. They got a new and improved trigger with a little better reset on it. But Glock built this gun, and it's literally just been a staple point for reliability, okay? Most people in the firearm industry, when you get into law enforcement and stuff like that, they want a gun that has 100% reliability in what they do. I mean, a beautiful, aesthetic, pretty looking gun, you know, is one thing, but, you know, police officers, a lot of military, I believe military, some guys do use the Glocks. I know a lot of special operators, a couple friends of mine that are spec ops and stuff have carried a Glock before in combat environment. Even though the U.S. military issued pistol was a Beretta 92 FS, recently switched over to a SIG M17, M18, but, you know, the military has carried this gun. They've switched it up. I know some special operator units, some SEALs have carried, some Marines too, carried the M1911 MARSOC as well. So, yeah, guys, the Glock is just so reliable. It is so reliable. It's got that square slide on it, as you can see. You know, I put some aftermarket sights on here. This is an olive drab, a little lower. You know, you can get it in all black. I kind of like the olive drab. It stood out to me pretty well. You know, it kind of gave me that military feel. I really liked it a lot. And the gun just fits good in the hand. I have pretty large hands, and this gun, it soaks up my entire hand. You know, the way the grip is on the gun, you can get stippling and you can get the peel overs. Another thing about Glock being that it's such a universal pistol is that you can have so many add-ons. For those of you new to firearms out there, there are so many things you can do to these guns. I mean, when you start really getting into like competition shooting, you know, you can add a flared mag well. They got mag wells that slide in here. A flared mag well, for those of you at home, is a magazine to where it opens up at the bottom down here. Okay, it's kind of like a beveled edge that opens out. So you got a big circumference around here that screws in. So when you're, you know, speed shooting and you got to slam a magazine in, you know, if wherever you hit it at, you hit it here or whatever, it's going to just slide right in. Whereas, you know, you dump a magazine out and you're trying to slam a mag, you're fiddling around, you know, that takes away from that. Flared mag wells, okay. And then they also have the new slides. I know Zev Technologies is a very common one. For those of you that have been Glock fans for a while, may know them. Those of you that do not, never had any issues with Zev. They make some incredible stuff. So they make your serrated slides. They got your slide cuts. Another thing too that's really taken off is your RMR slide as well. So, you know, you can go on eBay. I mean, you can even look on eBay. Get a new slide that's got an RMR cut. An RMR cut is basically, you know, you got your 2 screw slots for a Trichicon, a Hollow Sun, red dot. You know, the red dots on pistols are becoming a very common thing nowadays, okay? You know, you can get new barrels, you can get new guide rod springs, you can get a threaded barrel, you can get compensators. I know Strike Industries makes the mass driver. I mean, you can put that on here as well. It just bolts on to the original barrel with a different guide rod spring. So that's another thing about Glock, guys, is it's like the Honda Civic. I mean, I don't really know cars that well, but if you wanted to, you know, a Honda Civic, whatever it may be, those of you that are big into cars, you can find just about anything anywhere for a Honda Civic, Mustang, whatever kind of car it is you guys like out there. That you kind of get the point where I'm going, to where Glocks are fully customizable. For those of you that are big into customizations. Now, I am big into customizing certain guns, okay? But some guns, like this one right here, it's perfectly fine right out of the box, to be honest with you. I mean, there are a couple things you guys can do. You can swap your pins out and stuff. These are your takedown pins. So you basically, you know, you knock these pins through. You can take out the slide lock right here. You can take out the plate. You can take this pin out back here. Your trigger goes across here. You can take your trigger out. I mean, the good thing about Glock, though, is you don't have to do all those things. That's just one of the other things, some of the other things you can do with this gun. Now, we'll kind of get into the meat and potatoes of it. This is a Generation 4, as I mentioned, so one of the biggest differences, I'll take the gun apart. As you guys can see, it's clear, okay? It's a good old-fashioned Glock. The way I take it apart, I'll pull it back, I'll hold it in my hand just like that. You got a spring right here with a takedown, and you got a spring right here. And what it is a little plate inside of here. So when you pull these springs down, it pulls this plate down. So when you let the slide go, all you got to do is pull this trigger, and boom, the slide shoots right off. So I'll pull these down. I'll pull this side and the opposite side. Let it go forward, pull the trigger, and then you see there, it comes right off. Oh my goodness, that was so hard. I don't think I could do it again. Gotta have a little dry humor, guys. It's 2020, we need to laugh. And you can see here, this is your lower unit. You can see your trigger I was telling you about. Your trigger comes back into here. There's your trigger down here on the bottom. And then you can see you have a spring here and then a spring here. And what I was telling you is when you pull that plate down, that right there piece allows your slide to be removed. And guys, with all these internals I'm telling you about, like the magazine, you guys look in here, you see your magazine. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There's your mag right there. Inside of there, your magazine release. So guys, you can swap that out, get your new magazine release, whatever you want to do, may be the case. And then that's your lower, you know, the little polymer Glock lower. Then you get into the actual slide. So this is your slide, okay? This is your guide rod spring. We were talking about Gen 3, right? You see Gen 4, excuse me. Here's your Gen 4 right here. This is a big difference. When Glock come out with a Gen 4, okay, they have this double guide rod spring here. The Generation 3 is just a single spring that looks just like this without this extra piece over it. So the thing about the Generation 4 recoil spring that Glock did was to mitigate recoil. So it doesn't feel as snappy in the hand. It resets better. You keep your sights on rate. Your sight line is better acclimated to whatever you're shooting at the target. So that was one of the the reasons for this recoil spring. So you can see a recoil spring, and then the barrel just drops out of a Glock, guys. Glocks are the easiest guns in the world to maintain. I mean, they're just super easy, super reliable. You can see I haven't even shot this one yet, so it's still got the original factory oil on it. It's got that copper looking, almost cosmoline kind of oil on the slide still. And then there's your barrel, good old 9x19. You know, just Glock barrels are universal across the board. I will say, guys, from my honest opinion, with like a Glock 23, swapping it out with a 357 SIG barrel from a 40 Smith & Wesson, a 357 SIG. If you ever want to swap barrels out, guys, do your research, okay? Don't get some really cheap barrels, because you'll have problems with the block lineup inside the slide here. As you can see, I'll see if I can show it to you. This tolerance right here inside of a barrel and a Glock is actually very tight. So make sure you get a good barrel. I know Lone Wolf makes some really good barrels. Zev Technologies makes some good barrels. And depending on what it is, if you guys can get an actual factory barrel, if you're ever swapping it out, do so. If you're getting a, you know, if you want to put a suppressor on it or anything like that, look at Zev Technologies, look at Lone Wolf. Okay, and then you get into your slide here, guys. So basically this is your slide. And this is basically a field strip that I've just done to you guys. Now, if you wanted to take everything out of here, take your firing pin, pull your extractor out, take everything out back here, pull your slide block plate off, then, or it's basically just your slide plate back here, I'm sorry. You just take a little pen or pencil, push in on this tab forward. When you push in on that forward, it releases this plate where it's got these grooves on it. You can slide it up. Everything comes out of the back, your firing pin. You can pull this spring out. Then this is your extractor that extracts the round every time you shoot. And you can get in there and clean all that. So just a kind of how-to if you guys want to do that. And then to re-put the field strip, you know, reassemble the gun back, put your barrel back in there, put your guide rod spring back into here, pull it down, get it to fit in there just like so. Then just take it along these rails. So, you know, they talk about rails on a striker fired pistol. So this is a striker fired pistol, guys. So that little pin inside of here, the firing pin, strikes inside of the barrel. When it strikes, the gun moves aft, moves backwards, okay? And when it goes forward, you can fire the gun again. Slide moves back, goes forward, trigger release, fire it again. And as you guys can see right here with the Glock trigger, okay, I've got it, I still have it held. You can hear there's the release there, okay? And it's not a bad trigger, guys. Some people don't like Glock triggers. I don't think they're too bad. I've been shooting Glock for so many years. I'm so accustomed to them. But there are some aftermarket triggers you could get, the flat face trigger, etc. Because, you know, Glock has the built-in internal drop safety. So they have a drop safety on the trigger, then they have two safeties in the gun as well. To, if you have a round that is hot, you know, you're sitting with a hot gun here. If you drop the firearm, it won't go boom on you, which is something that, you know, double action pistols that have, you know, has a hammer on it. You pull the slide back, the hammer stays back. Or you got a single action pistol or single action revolver, where you have a round in this chamber, and that hammer, the hammer is sitting on that firing pin, and you drop the gun. All it takes is that firing pin to hit the bullet, and you have an explosion, which is not what you want. So the flat face trigger, in my opinion, is not bad at all. As you guys can see, here's the trigger. Give you guys kind of like a slow-mo. There's the take up. So you push this is one of the safeties here. You pull the trigger, get the wall. There we go. We got a good break. And reset. There's a reset. Yeah, it's not a bad trigger at all. I swapped these sights out. These are from the Mariglow True Dots. So these sights here aren't bad at all, guys. They're for the night. So they pretty much glow in the dark. They got the tritium inside of them. But yeah, guys, just thought I would do a quick review today on pulling another baby out of the safe. And this one is a very common gun. I have a Glock 17 Gen 3 I have. And when we were talking about the customizations earlier, I have that thing pretty customized out. Pretty much just about everything on the gun's redone. Trigger, magazine release, flared mag well. It has a compensator. So we'll take that thing out and take a look at it too. And once the ammo prices go down, you guys see all this beautiful, looks like dollar signs out here, right? All this ammo. I hope to do a lot more shooting, but as you guys know, with the election and well, good old coronavirus 2020, ammo prices are through the roof right now. So hopefully when everything gets situated, we get some ammo prices back down and all of us can go start enjoying our range therapy again. As always, guys, thank you so much. Your support for the channel and your encouragement helps me to really get you guys some more videos and content. I really love doing this. I love firearms. I love that we, as American people, can practice our Second Amendment rights. And it is absolutely, in my opinion, a fun hobby, something really fun to do. As always, guys, you know, be sure to like and subscribe. There are many more videos coming soon. If you guys have ideas of things you want to see, comment below. I really appreciate it. And until next time, Step Gun is out. See you.